ช่วงนี้พบกับคุณเทพชัยย่องในช่วงข่าวภาษาอังกฤษไทย PBS World ค่ะ
Good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World. The 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China last week was certainly one of the world's most watched events. And as expected, the Chinese communist leaders put on a very impressive military show to remind the world of its rise as a major power. And in his address, President Xi Jinping made it clear that nothing can stop China from continuing with its economic and military ascendance. Tonight, Thai PBS World talks to Dr. Panithan Wattanayakon, a leading political analyst and an advisor to the National Security Council, on what all these mean to the countries in the regions and the rest of the world. The world saw one of the world's biggest military displays last week in Beijing when China celebrated its 70th anniversary of the founding of the Republic. So what do you think was the key message that the Chinese communist leadership was trying to send out to the rest of the world?
Well, success. I think one word is success. I think no deny. What China achieved has been achieving so far is a success. But of course it's debatable how successful that modernization in the military, economic and social issues are, and what are the implications, importantly, for Asia, for the whole world in the future.
Despite challenges that China is facing, more challenges than before.
Well, challenges is as enormous as success.
The domestic economic, downturn, the protests which are still going on in Hong Kong, and then the trade war with the U.S.
Yes, of course. Some analysts even went back and used old concepts of China has come a long way, but still a long way to go. They think this is very appropriate to describe China today. I think the immediate challenges is, of course, economic growth. I think this year they slowed down much more than expected. And of course, secondly, challenges in terms of political issues. Hong Kong and in various areas in China, there are a lot of demonstrations increasingly. Leadership is also a big challenge because now it's subjected to more scrutiny. Once you become a president for life, I think your peers, your colleagues who are supposed to step up in your position will challenge you. So challenges from within will be even greater than in the past.
The President Xi was very explicit in his speech on how he wants China to be seen. He said, no forces in this world can shake China's foundation, and no forces in this world can stop China from going forward. What do you think he means by that?
Well, in international relations for hundreds of years, that's not true. No one hyper or superpower cannot be challenged. It is challenging all the time to superpowers, to hyperpowers, simply because of technological changes, political changes happening all the time. But of course, the intention of saying that is to deter, adversaries, to send a strong message that the communist leaders are determined to handle these threats or these challenges. But I don't think no one country in the history of our world stood alone or stand alone without challenges. That's not true.
But do you think his message was aimed specifically, toward the U.S., which has been engaged in the war trade with China?
Well, the U.S. is a very complex partner of China. On one hand, you see the interdependence of the two economies, and increasingly so. But on the other hand, you see the sentiment of nationalism and fears of being replaced by China, but in the U.S. more and more. So that complexity has to be handled positively in order for the world to benefit. But so far, it's not that good yet. But I think the rivalries in many ways are healthy, and it can be managed and controlled, by these two giants or by the rest of the world through multilateral forum. It should be very good. But so far, we need a new model for the two countries to engage.
Were you surprised that President Xi didn't mention a word about what's going on in Hong Kong?
Well, that it's understandable. I think he must feel sad by the event. People have injured. It reflects the leadership of him and his administration. He must be also in the Chinese or in the Asian terms lose face. For the event because the demonstrator plan to do exactly the opposite. I think, but it's a reality that China must cope with, and I suspect that Hong Kong model will be followed by many key urban areas in China in the future. So the challenges for the Chinese will be how to control these new ideas that yes, you can challenge Beijing, you can increase political space and freedom. Yes, in the end, I think if China pick and choose these challenges and manage successfully, it's not going to be bad for China. Hong Kong model teaches leadership in China about compromise. And I think if they learn that lesson very well, in the end, we know that China will be a much better country.
I mean, the increasing influence of China, especially in the economic and security field in the regions, is something that we cannot deny. But how do you think small countries like Thailand and others in this region, in ASEAN in particular, should deal with China?
Well, Thailand is unique. Of course, most countries claim they're unique also. But we are unique in the sense that we never became a colony of anyone. We don't have any history baggages. Thailand can offer and is offering itself to be a bridge linking US, China, India, and the rest of the world. And by connecting the interests of these countries, for example, in South China Sea, in terms of preservation of resources at sea, that is successful. China, US are now exercising, working together, in the many exercises in the region toward that peace. So that's for Thailand to increasingly offering itself a bridge, a space for these giants to get to know each other more, to learn about each other, to cooperate. But it's not easy. As you mentioned, we are very small. You have to be more careful. It could create problems if you move in the wrong way.
I mean, the Belt and Road project has been a key platform of China's advance in this region. And of course, Thailand has gradually become part of this project now because of the high-speed railway that we are building. But in the long run, how do you think the Belt and Road project should be sort of fit into Thailand's dealing with China?
Well, so far, I think early evaluations and current thinking are very much seeing this connectivity is very for Thailand, very beneficial for Thailand and the rest of the regions, providing that we can put in our inputs, we can control some of these infrastructures that are not that good. The Chinese admitted that some of the projects may not have to be implemented anymore. The money going to this project can be controlled by shareholders, including Thailand, to the AIIB banking infrastructure, investment bank. So participation is a key if the Belt and Road to be beneficial. In the first few years of the Belt and Road initiative, the Chinese tend to be very much guarded. But now it's more open. The second meeting this year is very, very clear that China wants more participation in a meaningful ways. It's not a China-led project anymore, and also more importantly admitted that some of these projects are not that good for the local countries. So these are very good and positive changes. If this is a fact in the future, I think this could be potentially a very important vehicle for all countries to understand China more and benefit from the China initiative.
That was Dr. Parithan Wattanayakon, an advisor to the National Security Council, on his views on China. And that's all for ThaiPBS World tonight. Thank you for watching.